Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Roads to Liberty. We are here with another episode. Today is June 27th. We are here with Eddie the Anarchist. What's up, Eddie?
How you doing?
What's going on?
How's everybody doing?
We had our first live guest here. It's pretty cray-cray.
Yes, sir. I'm not too sure about the name either, but you can ride with it right now. I'm usually like to refer to myself as an anarchist, but anarchist is good enough, right? Momentarily.
You said non-archist?
Anarchist. It's basically the same thing. It's just, avoids a couple butthurt ancoms and anarcho-syndicalists.
Just for the audience, in case we missed that, here's a prop. It might be backwards, but you can imagine. Non-archist, I think, was that correct? You said non-archist?
Yeah, you spelled it. It's like monarchist, but no M. There's no rulers.
Okay. So you are not. Describe what's a non-archist?
Non-anarchist, Rothbardian. Murray Rothbard wrote an article. I don't believe he ever released it. If we did, he released it under pseudo personality back in like the 60s.
Okay.
And basically, a lot of people were telling him he's not an anarchist because capitalism and anarchy don't collide. Well, despite the fact that, anarcho-capitalism is the best thing that doesn't force coercion, use force, and threats of violence against you like the state does.
Right.
Basically, they had went to Murray Rothbard had said, it'd be better if I had my computer. But I know.
It's all right.
I'm just questioning on.
I got you on the show like 2 hours notice.
I'm just questioning off this old article, and I'm like,
it'll come to you.
But basically, Murray Rothbard just said if the more appropriate term for anarcho-capitalists would be non-anarchist. So I refer to myself as a non-anarchist.
So let me recap some stuff. This is a kind of one-on-one type thing.
Not that you can't refer to yourself as an anarchist, because like I said,
right,
anarcho-capitalists are the best things towards an anarchist society. We'll actually even allow people to form together into their own groups and be socialists, be syndicalists, be whatever, capitalist communities and all whatnot.
Right. Well, so I think just to go sideways, like the bad Quaker Ben Stone, he has a show he did. I don't know what podcast number or anything, but he does a show.
Great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a podcast where he talks about what the definition of anarchy really should be, because there's the ancoms who think that like anarchy is just no state, but then anyway, we're not going to get into that necessarily right this second,
right.
But the way he described it was anarchy. You could break it down, I guess, into Latin, which is archy means rulers or rulership, rulers,
right.
and an means without. So non, I think it means like something like the opposite of.
The opposite?
Or no, anti would be the opposite of. Non would be without. I think it's non. And
It's pretty much the same. He was just coining his own term. He said, "Oh, y'all are mad because I love Lynn Zender Spooner, but he spoke out against capitalism. If he was alive to get day, he would probably recognize that there's a difference between personal capitalism and state capitalism.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which is really corporatism, fascism.
Well, state capitalism
based off Marxist
is almost like organized but yet legitimized crime. So if I just rob you,
right.
Like you're sitting next to me and I see like $10 fall out of your pocket and I just take it. Not to say that's any more innocent or acceptable than organized or government crime, but it's at least an isolated instance. Whereas government crime is actually sanctioned. Like we like not me and you, but most of the people in the world walk around going, "Oh yeah, you should be able to collect taxes. You should be able to create a permit to build a structure on your own property." Excuse me, did I buy this land? No, you didn't buy any land. In America, you can't own land. You can rent land. So,
and that's what I'm saying. Like basically, this country is basically as installed, and this hasn't happened. People think this happened in the last 4 years or 8 years or 10 years or 25 years. It's been in the making since 1776, really.
Right. As soon as the ink dried.
Right. And basically.
For sheep, on sheep, by sheep.
And whoever read fucking Karl Marx in the 1800s didn't make it any better by fucking setting up the 12 planks, the 10 planks.
The planks, you might have to refresh me on that.
The planks, it's basically, oh, that's another topic.
We don't have to get into it.
Right, you feel me? Like,
we're gonna
again,
go
I
sporadic through it.
apologize. I would have came with notes, but I forgot. Like,
Oh, so
this wasn't
I gotta say, Eddie is actually the first real life anarchist I've ever met. I know that sounds crazy, but I just found anarchy myself. Basically, officially committed whatever as an anarchist to myself in, I guess, the beginning of 2013. Again, 2012, beginning of 2013. Basically, once I watched 2012 elections take place, like I was already in my brain an anarchist because I was like, I heard all the arguments and I couldn't dispute anything. I was like, this is all logical, this makes perfect sense. But it's almost like if you were, the world thought you were straight and you had to go tell your family you were homosexual or something. It was like, it's like coming out anarchist. I actually had on the Road to Liberty blog, there's an article by, my spit shield's getting really, guys, appreciate your patience. There's an article by one of my writers I had that he talks about coming out as an anarchist, and it really was for me the same thing. Like my parents were like, "What do you mean?" Like I went to a baseball game with them, and I didn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance for the Star Spangled Banner, like national anthem or anything, and like they looked at me, they were like, "Really? Like you're gonna do this?" And I was like, "Guys, I'm a consistent person. Like if I say something, I'm not doing it for fashion. I'm not doing it to be cool. Like this is what I believe. Like I'm not gonna stand and salute this killing organization.
No,
death.
It's definitely not.
Murder and death.
A small pledge and small flag, but no, it's not. Like, new government came in tomorrow and installed something else, you'd be repeating it to.
Right, and I want to get into that. So the topics for tonight's show are police state and taxes, but sometimes your topics don't always get to be the topics, but we're going to try to start on topics and we'll see because it's going to get off course anyway. So I got Chuck Ford from the Liberty Geek coming on probably in the last part of the show. He committed to trying to bounce in at some point, so I'm going to shoot him a link maybe like around 8:30, 8:45. We'll try to have a kind of three-way discussion on these topics, have Chuck's feedback, and we can maybe just kind of fucking just talk about whatever as we end the show. But so let's start out. Which one do you want to start out with, the police state or taxes?
Kick it off with taxes.
Taxes, awesome. Because Chuck wants to talk about police state, perfect. So taxes, I don't want to just talk about taxes. I want to talk about how we should not be paying taxes. And I feel like people feel like if I just said that, guards, like FBI agents are going to burst through the door and just fucking throw me to the ground and start beating me to pieces. Like, yes, if word gets out and I become famous one day, and months and years from now, they'll find this video and be like, you said don't pay your taxes, and then there'll be some uproar. But great, there should be an uproar about that. We shouldn't be paying our taxes. We should. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes if you have a job. I'm not saying don't go file your tax return. I'm not saying if you have kids, if you have a mortgage, if you have responsibilities. I'm not saying make a foolish choice for your life. If you're single, if you're working part-time job to part-time job, is it really worth the $300, $400 tax return that you're going to get back to go actually acquiesce and consent to their bullshit system?
No.
To be their slave for $300 for a year?
And the services they provide back. You call for an ambulance and the cops show up and they beat your ass. Or they put a bullet in your dog or your kids.
Kill your dog, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even help but laugh because this is daily and people just still go on with the bullshit and bow down to the benevolent overlords. Like, it's crazy.
It's insanity.
It's insanity.
It's fucked up. So, like, I'm not going to ask you to say what you do for a living or whether you pay taxes or not for your own protection, but we can speak as philosophers or as people who have ideas. Like, in an ideal world, like, outside of my own, I mean, I'll speak to mine and stuff because it's my show, and I'll be honest to some degree, but what do you think are some ways that the average person can start to avoid their level of participation in funding the state?
Well, that's very interesting because everybody used to say Bitcoin was that option, but now they have the dark coin, which is picking up steam. And I think cryptocurrencies is a great way for you to get around paying taxes and whatnot. If that's something you're into, and if not, you should look into how to operate into the system and run it. But that's a whole other topic because that's like our course. Like,
right. And actually, I have another show on this network on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. called CoinPro's Crypto Talk Hour, and we get into all sorts of stuff. We had Evan Wagner of Counterparty. Last week he talked about Syscoin, which is going to have like an actual like eBay or a Dropbox type of functionality built into the Coin wallet. So you could, with Coin, send files or send. Like, we can have an agreement for me to sell you something. without having to pay a fee to eBay or anything, or pay PayPal or anything. So
Excellent.
cryptocurrency is awesome. I'm not just gonna plug my show the whole time, but in terms of cryptocurrency, like
It's an awesome way if you want to avoid some taxes.
no, but like for example, let's just say you're an adopter, I'm a doctor. You have, I'm gonna say just fiat numbers for you guys to understand. If he has $200 worth of Bitcoin, and I have $200 worth of Bitcoin. Let's just say we got a percentage of our cash flow we keep in Bitcoin.
Right.
And you said to me, "Hey, dude, you know what? I'm going out of town. Could you watch my dog for the weekend?" And I go, "You know what? I really hate dogs, but I mean, I don't hate dogs, but in my apartment, it's not. I don't really. But for you as a friend, $50 and or a couple cases of beer, whatever you want to do. How about?" And you say, "How about, man? How about I just give you 0.1 Bitcoin? And Bitcoin's at 570, so $57. Okay, straight, dude. 0.1 Bitcoin. You know what? Do this. Give me 0.05 now, just so I know that you're legit.
Yep.
Even though you're my boy, whatever. Just so
Right.
I can go shopping on overstock.com or whatever. And then when you get back and you see your house is chill and your dog is happy and everything, you hit me with the other half of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's mutual commerce between you and me. There's no taxes, and the state doesn't know. It's like cash, but we don't have to touch their stupid symbols and their stupid, iconography or whatever it's called, like iconography or whatever it's
Yeah, a
called.
lot of people are paying their rent. They're
Pyramids and
paying their
shit.
rent and whatnot, convince their landlords to start accepting it as currency, property, whatever the fuck they want to label it. Almighty states.
Right.
State has spoken, it's property.
Well, and that's the thing. The dollars are actually the state's property. I'm gonna try to push the computer back so we don't have to fucking sit so damn close to each other, even if the microphone's in there a little bit. It's all good. I like to prove to people that I have a cool microphone. I put it in the shot a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I like having you on the show. I like having everybody that I have on my show because it's like when I talk to myself, it's like it makes me feel like liberty's not really catching on. Like you know what I mean? Like there's a real person sitting next to me that's like proving to me that I'm not just making up these ideas. I only wish I could smoke inside my apartment. I want to quit cigarettes, but as someone who does smoke cigarettes, when I'm doing something like this stressful, not that it's stressful, but you know what I mean, like pressure or whatever, I'd love to just burn in the stove and that'd be great.
Right.
But it's what we do for you guys. It's what we do for the community to try to get this out there. So on back to taxes. Here's the thing, right? So, and I'm not a religious person at all, but some things in the Bible or in the Quran or in the Torah or whatever, I'm sure there's some truth in all those books as well.
Right.
But I had something that caught my attention from the Bible that I think can resonate with most free-thinking, logical people is when someone asked Jesus, what about paying taxes? What about, whatever? Because like he said, well, what about money or taxes or something? And Jesus goes, well, what is a tax or something like that? And he goes, well, we give these coins, shows a coin to Jesus, or I forget how it goes, whatever.
Right.
And he goes, well, there's an image of the man on the coin, render unto him that which is his. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Render unto God that which is God's. Whether you believe in God or not, render unto yourself that which is valuable to you, and render unto the state that which is valuable to the state. The state prints this bullshit money supply, and we're supposed to use that and feed our children with it. And we should be doing everything in our power to wipe that off like it's pond scum, like off of our like. I hate that I have fiat currency. Right. I hate when I go to the gas station, I have to take green dollars out of my wallet and pay. It's disgusting. I would love to use dark coin and just pay for gas and have no one know my name, what my zip code is, what kind of license plate I had. Yeah. And license plates, that's another story for a whole show.
Another thing, RFID.
I need a dog tag to drive down the street.
Yeah. They don't think that police read your license plate anymore. They just freaking, if they really want you, they just put your plate in the system, and then when driving in front of you, the shit goes off, and they're like, oh, there's Eddie, coming for him. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, RFID chips on your license plate makes it much easier for the cops to pick up your plates. That's how they pick up your SunPass.
So there's an RFID chip in your debit card.
Yeah, in your debit card, your public.
Most of them. Actually, if I can find the RFID chip in my card real quick, I'll show you guys how to find it and get rid of it. Or at least if I can't find it, you guys can know. Since we're talking about it, take your debit card, and what you want to do is, you guys, I'm not going to show it real fast, so you can't see the number or anything, but let me get at least in a shot. Take your debit card, and you want to hold it up to a light source, like there's a light over here, and look up and see if you can see through it or see anything through it. If you hold it up to a bright enough light, if there is an RFID chip, you'll see a little squiggly, almost looks like a meal worm or something inside, like curled up like in a circle. Get a hole punch, or if you have a drill bit, or whatever. Just get a lighter, burn your card, and then get a ballpoint pen and pry it out. As long as the magnetic strip still works, or you can still read the numbers, you can still use your card to buy online, or you can swipe it if the strip still works. Or at the store, you can go to the mall and say, type it in. They will take your card, they will take your money, they'll type it in manually. You could destroy your strip, you just cut it off. It's like, here's my card. You want my money? But anyway, yeah, the RFID chip can be used to actually track you and find out your identity just by you walking by a sensor, which is disgusting and scary. And I love technology, but that's creeps the fuck out of me personally too.
That's what happens when you only limit. That's what happens when the state monopolizes technology.
Do you think the state has a monopoly on technology?
Of course. That's why people are trying to create shit in their garage, and the state's crushing them with fucking police at the door, kicking down, and saying, "No, what are you doing, making a bomb?"
You got to make a point. You know, you got to talk about, this is a little bit off the beaten path, but it's relevant. You look at Tesla.
Yeah.
You're familiar with Tesla?
Yeah,
the car company? Yeah, they wanted to sell their cars out of a mall.
Right.
Because, and I used to sell, I've been a car salesman for 5 years.
Right.
You know, just to buy into a car dealership, it's a little rinky-dink spot, it's a few $1 million. The shingle alone, just to have the Ford sign or whatever, costs you $1 million. Period. Just to get in. It's like a club. So, you know, Tesla says, we're going to just put one car, we make 2 models, we're going to put them both in a mall, little box, like next to Victoria's Secret. And if you want to test drive, they're out, and we can walk you downstairs, take you for a test drive. But here's all the we got salespeople, got the information. If you're really serious, they start at $50,000. So the payments are like $800-900 a month. You put in like $1,000 down.
Yeah.
You know. So if that's what you're trying to do, great. And that's a genius way. I mean, the floor plan, the overhead, you can return so much more value to your customers by not having this big footprint in every single store. What does the state say? Well, that'd be a little too efficient. That would crowd out all of our big brother GM and Ford and Chrysler. So couldn't allow that.
Yeah.
Squash.
That's fine. You gotta go, of course, give them another bailout. Turning upside down. Which again, taxes. Corporate welfare. A lot of people complain about social welfare, but I think the worst is corporate welfare.
Yeah, and it's like taxation is this fucking. Oh, I get so excited. I try not to curse on my show, but you can curse on YouTube, so I really don't care if anybody curses. But it's such a bullshit game because it's like, here's the thing: you're Lockheed Martin or you're General Electric or you're whatever. Honestly, you're the guy or group of people who really fucking behind the scenes pull the strings for GE or for Lockheed or for whatever the hell it is, Caterpillar, all these, anything in the S&P 500 or Dow Jones.
They don't pay taxes.
Anybody at the Bilderberg meeting.
They're not paying taxes, but they're getting tax returns, and it's your money through taxation that they're giving back to these companies that aren't paying taxes.
But the critical thing to remember too is, just in a bullshit situation, and I was gonna say Dairy Queen, but I'm not even gonna say Dairy Queen. We all love Dairy Queen. I don't know if they suck or not, but I don't have any problem with them personally. Let's take someone that people kind of hate, Walmart. I don't even hate Walmart. I think Sam Walton kind of was a really great industrial capitalist, but it is what it is. Maybe it's great, maybe it's the fucking devil. I don't know. Let's take Walmart. Old lady walks through Walmart, slips and falls, hurts herself. She's not dead, but she, sprains her ankle or whatever. Poor old lady. Walmart's to blame. Great. What does that even mean, Walmart's to blame? What does that even actually mean? It means that of the pool of money that Walmart made that year, take out $250,000 that old lady got in a lawsuit or whatever, and still just divide the remainder to the shareholders or whatever, and it's still billions of dollars of profit that year. And I'm not saying, oh, greedy capitalists, blah, blah. I'm saying the point is that the person in that business that is responsible for workplace safety didn't get fired.
Right. Because
there's no accountability sideways within organizations because the state protects you by giving you that corporate, it's like a charade. It's like a costume ball.
Yeah,
if you're a corporation, you go to the ball and it's like, I am Jim Corporation, and you could just do whatever you want now and murder people or pollute. And it's like, well, Jim Corporation did it. It wasn't me. Yeah. So, in the free societies of the world, you could start a corporation, I think, personally, you could start a corporation just to keep track of ownership and shares and stuff. But at the end of the day, the people that make choices that result in things happening will be held accountable in a free society, I think,
Well,
ideally.
well, yeah, definitely. And just look at the Nuremberg trials, which wasn't a result of a free society, but was the result of shit catching up to men trying to blame it on the collective organization they were a part of instead of their individual accountability.
Right. Right. And the Nuremberg trials is a great template for the inaccountability and the bullshit of the state. It's almost like I feel like I realized I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but I don't want to give a fuck.
Right.
I feel like when I was like 4 years old.
No, it all has to do with taxation still.
We'll get back to taxation.
No, this still has to do with taxation at the root of it.
We will tie it in because taxation is essentially the
running
it's
military,
it's the rape of your personhood.
Military and the police are running off your taxes and they're not doing you a damn thing for freedom.
Yeah, if you really want to chill it down, essentially what's taking place is every year we all get off our asses every morning and go somewhere we don't want to go and bust our hump to make this fucking world go around, make the society go around. I build widgets, you sell cars, we do this, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, you're pave the roads, you fucking, whatever it is, we all make this fucking world go around.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, I'm going to fucking go into it right now with taxes because now I realize what the hell is going on. If you think about it, when you tax something, you're theoretically trying to prevent that thing in a sense. Like the reason there's a cigarette tax is because people say, well, it's a win-win because it prevents people from smoking cigarettes as much because the prices go up, and if people are gonna smoke cigarettes, at least that's going towards public works, roads and schools and whatever. Guess what? First of all, that's bullshit. Wherever the taxes come from, they go into the general slush fund and they get spent, and then taxation doesn't pay for the budget; it just pays for the interest on the loan of the budget and our future generations. But the point I'm trying to get to is that if you're taxing things you don't want to occur, why are we taxing labor? Why are we taxing productivity? So if I create a business right now and make efficiency for 1 million people in the world, you're gonna hamper my doing so by a 15% to 30% magnitude, restrict my effectiveness essentially, or reduce my efficiency in what I'm trying to do for a obtuse or like not even clear view of what you're going to use. Like you don't come to my business and say, okay, you're in this industry, we're going to take your money, we're going to invest it in this, and this, and create much more opportunity for your industry, and we're going to pull all the iron workers or all the computer programmers together. No, you just take my money, you buy missiles, and you give it to whatever poor people supposedly, but you're ruining poor people because you're taking away their chance to become self-sufficient.
Well, yeah, definitely, and honestly, look at the legalization of marijuana, people, it's basically consumers are sort of fucking. They want it so bad that they're going for. They're like they don't care about the regulations or laws that go with it. So instead of just growing it locally or whatnot, or you selling it or whatnot, they want to fucking tax the shit out of you. Still kick down. Kick down your door. It's legal. It's legal.
It's still a good thing.
But now we're gonna kick. Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's still a good thing because well, not because you could just smoke it, but. Anybody who wanted to smoke marijuana is going to smoke marijuana or do coke or do heroin or whatever.
Definitely.
That's the hilarious part is that like legalization is completely irrelevant. Actually, what happens
I don't even believe in legalization. It's stupid as fuck. It's in my input. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I don't wake up in the morning and ask for permission to wake up. I don't ask to go. Fuck this 1984 Big Brother. I don't know. They Live scenario. This is.
What do you mean They Live?
You never watched John Carpenter's They Live?
Yeah.
Excellent movie. Excellent movie.
John Carpenter's
They Live.
They Live.
Yeah, he finds sunglasses and he finds out like there's a little like race of aliens or some shit, monsters, zombie, ghosts.
I watched this. Here's a funny side note. I'm gonna let you get right to hold that thought. Yeah. I like tangents in my show. I watched this YouTube video, and I'm not gonna go into it, but funny fact: if you're on YouTube and you want to have a good time and just blow your mind. Search anything. Tickle Me MO, Connect the Dots, Buster Rhymes, whatever thing pops in your head. Just start with something, and then when it shows you the suggested videos on the side, scroll all the way up and down and pick the weirdest one you can find. Whatever it is, man hula hoops in the street. Okay, pick that. Watch that video. Look on the side. Scroll up and down. Pick the weirdest thing of that you can find in the suggested videos. fire-breathing guy, whatever. Pick that. You don't have to watch the whole video. Just look at the suggested videos again. Next one. Man eats fire and poops it out or something. Like, wait, what? Like, that's a video? And then from there, everything on that video is all insane, crazy. That's how you get into the dark part of YouTube. You just say, oh, what the crazy. You go for crazy every time. And so, get back to your point, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's crazy.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to share that because I remembered that.
No, I'm aware of that too. I think that's pretty hilarious. Like,
but I'll get back to why to remind you back to circle and let you know where you're going. I know it's easy for me to steal the show.
No, I forgot where we were.
I'll circle back in. I was thinking I was watching that video on YouTube, and it was talking about these aliens and shit, and about how they're extra dimensional. So basically, I'm laying in bed watching this video alone. I'm a single guy in my one-bedroom apartment by myself at night watching this video, and it's like, so they're there wherever they want to be, and they're in another dimension. So they don't give a shit about where our furniture is or where our walls are or anything. They're just here to collect information or to check in or to witness something or to collect something or to take something. And when shit goes missing, and I'm not saying I believe in all this, but this is what this video was telling me, and I'm fucking watching this shit.
Right.
And it occurred to me, like, I'm laying here by myself, like, this fucking extra dimensional shit could be right next to me right now going, yeah, motherfucker, I'm like right here. And I'd be like, Jesus Christ, like, this thing's on me. And it bugged me out really bad. And I wasn't on anything. I might have had a couple of drinks or a puff or whatever, but I wasn't, like, over the rainbow or anything. But does that trigger it for you where you're going?
No.
Our viewers will know what you were trying to say about aliens or something. About extra dimensional things or whatever.
I mean, that's possible. I mean,
well, let's get back to taxes, I guess.
I mean, well, no, I guess you're right, but these was more like, they were still human beings, but they were like reptilian sort of thing.
Well, that's where it came from, all the David
Right.
Ick shit.
Right.
You know about that.
I don't know, maybe reptilians are like...
It's 8:30. We're going to get transitioned, but I don't want to wrap up taxes just yet.
Yeah.
Eddie, do you mind telling the audience anything about yourself, like what you do, or do you want to say the industry you're in, if you're in food service or maintenance or marketing or lawyering or whatever you do? Do you want to say that, or do you want to not, or do you want to say maybe make up a profession that you might have? Like, let's say you were a mailman. How would you avoid paying taxes if you were a mailman? If you worked for the UPS or you worked for Taco Bell, like, how would you not pay taxes?
With a lot of those companies. Well, this is the thing. A lot of those companies don't pay taxes. Well, no.
You though. You're an
I'm
employee.
talking about as an individual. Most employees that work at those fast food restaurant chains that are subsidized by the U.S. government usually they receive all their money back. They're not paying a single. I mean, most of they don't register to pay taxes really. They're very low. Some now the upper managers do, but like your average, like 16-year-old employees. Really
well, if you make less than I think $10,000 a year, you don't have to file or something. And if you make less than $14,000 a year or something like that, and you're not had a household, like the taxation things are very different. When you're like, I was 14, 15 working at McDonald's actually personally. But let me give.
But as far as the postal service goes, this is hilarious. It says like somebody in the service telling me I pay taxes and I fought for your freedom. Both are lies. They're net recipients. They only receive money that's been stolen or extorted. It's not really their cash. And then what? They get taxed on it as well. So they're getting taxed on their cash that was stolen.
Look, you're hanging there, man. My bad.
It's all good.
I have some things to address in the rest of the office space of the studio. Namely the microphone. I was going to try to adjust it, but whatever. So it's 8:31. Anybody who's watching or anybody's watching this in the future, you're watching a program which is off of the new Voluntary Virtues Network. My name is Reno Parker Jr. I'm the host of two programs. This is Roads to Liberty. We have another show on Wednesdays. Well, I say we. I have another show on Wednesdays about cryptocurrency called CoinPro's Crypto Talk Hour. It's 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. We're here with Eddie the Anarchist. About the halfway point of the show, we started talking about taxes and about how the state pretty much rapes us and basically treats us like we're their property and forces us to go to work just to give them their exquisite ballrooms and their fancy, extravagant parties.
Inconvenient third party, if you ask me.
I got Chuck messaging me on Facebook. I'm not going to bring him in just yet because I like to be a maestro of my little orchestra, but I love Chuck a lot. You're gonna meet him in a second. I'm gonna bring him in because he's the host of the next show,
Right.
The Liberty Geek.
Right, I've heard of it.
You heard of it, yeah. It's a great show. He's on, so it would be 9 to 9:30.
Right.
And he just exposes kind of like how the nerdiness spectrum can really relate to anarchy. I think there's a direct
Oh,
link
I
with the
believe
nerds and the
exactly.
hackers
Oh,
and everything.
exactly. If you watch the
Bitcoin.
contributions, a
Who
lot
knows
of
who
Ron
made
Paul,
Bitcoin?
a lot of Ron Paul's contributors were in the technology industry.
The first political campaign I think I ever contributed to was Ron Paul.
Yeah. You know,
I voted for Obama. I will admit that. And I voted for Al Gore or whatever is John Kerry. Whoever the fuck was the Democrat
Right.
before that.
Right.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
I hear you.
I just did what my parents did.
Right. I voted in 2008 for Chuck Baldwin.
Chuck! We all love Chuck. The guy. Wait, who's Chuck Baldwin?
Chuck Baldwin was the crazy fucking
Was he a libertarian or
radical constitutionalist, but he was.
Oh shit, man! We have to do your roads to liberty.
Ron Paul had freaking. Ron Paul had a cosign on him. So it's like, all right,
You can't whisper. You can't whisper.
Oh, sorry. Ron Paul had given him a cosign at the time, so I was like, okay, I'll give whatever. It's better than
In 2008 or
It's better than
2012?
Obama and McCain. 2008.
Okay.
2012. No voting.
You're
for
ahead of me. You're ahead of me, my man.
No voting for
Well, I didn't vote in 2012, but I was very opposed to vote. I mean, in 2012.
It was a joke to me after the RNC convention. I was like, what the fuck?
You know what though? I was already seeing the facade kind of crumble at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what it is? I can't even like position myself or like pretend to be some sort of clairvoyant person or anything like that because like the state is just really bad at hiding it now. Like they're really egregious about their like they're basically just like the king's men, just like pushing their way through town. Like give me some of these.
They're
like,
incompetent.
things
They're
and just, like,
incompetent
ruin,
everywhere.
like,
They're incompetent running the show, and they're incompetent. They love being incompetent, no matter what.
it's like all of the shittiest like aggressive people get sucked into all the state. And my sister, I have family members. I know people who work with the state, and I'm not gonna specifically put any of them out there on the whatever on the in the targets. But here's the thing: if you're the cop, if you're the guy, the tax collector, if you're the one actually enforcing this shit, fuck you. Like honestly, not fuck you for being a cop. Because I know some cops that were actually like, as people, they just didn't understand what being. They grew up in this world, and I can get how you say I'm gonna become a cop. Like, I get that.
A lot of people I know who were cops, they left They left that.
I really think that someone should start a project.
A lot of people realize
like cop block, but stop there should be a fund. Like, yo, libertarians, anarchists, entrepreneurs, let's get someone message me. And oh, by the way, the hashtag for today, if you want to get to it, is hashtag anarchy chat. Believe it or not, there's no one tweeting that. So if you guys tweet hashtag anarchy chat on Twitter, I will respond to your topic, your question, your thought. But what was I just saying?
You're talking about the.
Dude, it's crazy. Man. Dude, on the show, ideas come and go. It's like there's like a hole in the boat.
Right. No, I know exactly what you mean. But we were talking about the.
Here's the thing, man. I'm drinking. It's Friday. You know. Anyway, so let's steer the boat. It's 8:36 p.m. We have a couple viewers in the chat. The viewer thing is wrong too. It says 2. It's 10. It's 10. I had 1. I knew 4 people watching for a fact, and I was one of them.
Right.
And I had my girlfriend watching, and my dad watching, I had this one watching, whatever. So, you know, and starting in a few weeks, we're going to be simulcasted, fucking number bumps up and down all the time. It's crazy.
Right.
But we're here with Eddie the Anarchist, real life anarchist. We're in Florida. I'm the United Federal Jurisdiction of Florida for tax purposes, in case anybody wants to send us an invoice or 1099 form or some kind of W-related form.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about the...
You go for a minute, man. I got to fix the microphone.
We were talking about the fund.
Irritating me.
We were talking about the fund earlier, about the...
fund!
For cop blockers.
Yes, thank you.
But, yeah, I was looking... I know some friends who are actually who have developed a program for the iPhone and smartphones and whatnot, so you can start recording. It'll probably be out very soon, within the next couple months. But it
So what I want to
sends
make
it to a cloud just in case the police break your phone or whatnot.
right.
It's a pretty good app, and I'll probably post a link on this page afterwards. The Facebook page this was hosted on to send out the invites about the project afterwards.
Please do, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Drop it in the links on the video, and if you send me the link personally, I'm the type of person that I don't care who you are. And if you're watching this, you have a project, if it's Bitcoin related, if it's libertarian related, if you have a fucking seed bank or a pure water straw, you don't have to pay me. Forget paying me. First, you don't have to send me a free sample. Just say, hey, you know what? Can you sponsor my product? If I think your product is doing something good, I would be honored to associate my show with you. So if anybody's listening, they go, oh, great, I have a business. I can get some free advertising. You sure as hell can. Send me a message, and I'll plug you because I'm not big time enough to charge anyone. So come on in and get a free plug. Participate. Get involved. Support anarchy. Sign on the bottom line. Where it says, I am an anarchist, or I am a non-labeled anarchist, or non-labeled free person. So anyway, second half of the show, we're running a little bit behind schedule, but it's all good. We got some viewers. I really appreciate the few people that are watching. Like, I think we got 45 or 50 people in the chat. I'm not sure exactly what the number's at. My eyesight's a little blurry, but the second topic was police state, and it ties right into taxes because if it weren't for the police, or if it weren't for the tax collectors, or if it weren't for the aggressors out there, the man with the guns and the sticks and the batons, there'd be no one to force you to really pay. It'd be a suggestion. It'd be a donation box somewhere. But it's not. When you don't pay, when the letter comes in the mail and you ignore it, and the tax man shows up, he has a weapon with him. He has a weapon. He has a gun or a nightstick or a paddy wagon or an armored tank, and he's prepared to haul you off and throw you in a cage like a piece of meat because you didn't give a portion, usually close to about a third, of your physical or mental anguish or labor that you did every single day. The shoes you wore through, the gas you burned, the time you punched in, the lunches you had every single day at lunch that you spent out of your pocket, out of hard-earned money, to give to whatever programs the state feels are necessary, whatever subsidies, whatever corporate handouts, whatever bailouts, whatever handouts they give to other countries and other, fucking propped-up dictatorships around the world that they want to fund. So taxation is obviously fucking immoral, but if it weren't for the police state, taxation would just be someone's hilarious, shitty idea that they have that everyone laughs at.
The government thug said, I'm just doing my job.
I'm just doing my fucking job. Here's the problem. Your job is to fucking shake us down and hose us dry.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying the cops are the ones collecting taxes, but by extension.
It's not just the United States. It's always been the problem of the centralized power or any power. This was with the Romans. This was with the mob. This was like, regardless of times, like you just gotta brace yourself and prepare and prep up. You have gain in training with guns.
But what I want people to get is that if we don't have to do this, we could have a free society. We could have an anarcho paradise if we could all just, like, seriously, if you're watching this show or if you're part of the Voluntary Virtues Network, don't tell a friend, tell 10 friends. Go, and I'm like Stefan Manu. Like, if you can't say you're doing the most you're doing, then don't tell other people to do more shit. Like, you know what I mean? Do more first and then be an example. But what I'm saying is, like, we need to get this shit out of there because, like, me and you can smile next to each other and be like, I just met you today and I trust you only because what you say, you'd have to become a hypocrite and cancel yourself out and be a liar in order to take something from me. Like, bro, you could totally be like, can I borrow X, Y, and Z? I'd be like, sure, or whatever. But based on the fact that you told me I'm a person that believes in property rights and the non-aggression principle and X, Y, and Z, I immediately feel a huge trust for you because I know that you've studied something and you know moral theory and you know something about something. So taxation to the police state, the link there is taxation is aggressors saying, I have a right to your productivity, I have a right to your labor, basically I have a right to treat you like a slave. And the police state is the fact that we have an epidemic of a percentage of the population that's willing to enforce that aggression upon innocent people.
Yes,
so what do you say to the cops? What do you say to the police state? What do you say to the TSA and the fucking just everything? What do you say to the aggression of the state?
Really, there's nothing to say. They're just going to keep on doing what they do. That's why people are still going to mourn their deaths when they get killed. And people are still going to become cops, and it's still going to be a never-ending cycle until people speak up and tell these children it's not worth becoming cops, it's not worth joining the military. The least you could do is become a mailman, but like even that's fucking privatize it, privatize everything. If it moves, privatize it. If it doesn't move, privatize it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it starts with telling kids that cops are not to be respected and loved. They're to be watched and feared, because, and not maybe feared, but to be weary of. Yeah, because what it comes down to is, I remember when I was a kid, I didn't necessarily love all the cops in my hometown, but if there was one standing out on the street corner somewhere, like doing some service or whatever, just like in town, you could ask him a question. You go up and say, "Officer, do you know whatever? Do you know what day the fireworks are in town? Do you know where the bank is?" Yeah. I went to a cop like a year or two ago because I was in like bumper to bumper traffic, and I'm coming off a highway and there was like this thing, whatever, and I put my car over to the shoulder and I go up to an officer, not like sneak up on him. You know, I go up to him and I say, "Excuse me, sir."
Yeah.
He goes, "Turn around, get back to your vehicle, young man." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "I just had a question for you, no problem. I'm going back to my vehicle right now."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't know what you're doing out of your vehicle, sir. You need to get back." I'm like, he's like coming at me like an attack dog. I'm like, "Excuse me, sir." I was like, I'm just trying to ask you a question. If you knew what the traffic was, I'm heading to my sister's wedding. I want to make sure I'm not going to be late. I'd like to know if it's going to be 2 hours or 2 days or 2 minutes. Get an idea. You're an officer.
Right.
And like those words wouldn't actually cut me out because he was pushing me like basically back to my car.
Yeah, definitely. They're very hostile and they believe that they're actually taught to treat everybody as a threat, so nobody should be surprised. A lot of friends I've met who were in the military or were former police officers or were police officers realized at the time when they were pulled over by fellow police officers or old people or other police officers, like it's no different like than what they do to people, except now it's just happening to them, and they're like, it's really an eye-awakening, and you can't blame them, and they hold themselves accountable usually for those actions, but that's how people develop into better beings.
By holding themselves accountable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And then fighting the system.
So I want to get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff with the police state right now. Absolutely, self-accountability is what it comes down to, and if police or just any government workers out there working for the state, whether you're a postal worker or a cop, if you realize that you couldn't possibly put food on your table, like you're as good or worse than the homeless people out there, and I mean that with a heavy heart, and I mean that with a lot of love for homeless people, because they struggle and they beg, but they are exactly what they say they are. They're beggars. You guys are fucking mooches. You're tax cows, and you reap reward for work that you do not do. Because every other work that's done in the world, if I'm a barber and I cut your hair, you walked into my establishment and said, "Can I please have a haircut?" And I said, "Sure, it's going to be $15. You said, "Great, that sounds like a great deal.
Yep.
Let's get this going." With you being a cop or you being a postal worker, or you being a judge or an attorney that works for the state and you're in your main clients or state contracts, you would be worse than a homeless person. You actually can't put food on your table. If you can't prove to yourself that you can make money in the free market, then I don't know that you can. I really don't know that you can afford. You're no better than the guy that works and makes $6 an hour or $8 an hour at McDonald's or whatever, the greeter at Walmart, because when you're making $100,000 a year for the state, that's all stolen money, and no one voluntarily gave you that reward for that work. And the taxes and the police state is the same thing, because people are taking that from which they don't deserve. They're taking money out of the thing at church, if you believe in that.
Yeah, no, I understand. Definitely, I agree with you.
There is no public funds. It's bullshit.
No, there's no public funds. And if there were public funds, they'd blow them anyway. So.
Right. It's a bunch of shit.
You have 14 minutes left, and I don't know if you wanted to introduce Chucky.
Oh, Chucky, yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's like having a co-host almost. I'll let the audience know it's hard doing the show because I make a choice to turn off my air conditioning in my apartment to do the show because I know it makes the sound quality better for the viewer. And it's a little sacrifice for an hour. After this is over, we'll go out on the balcony, have a cigarette, hang out, whatever. Yeah. Turn the AC. It's great.
Definitely.
But yeah, it gets hard towards the end of the show. Let me see if Chuck's around. I'm gonna get the link for him. We definitely probably have more to say about the police state and stuff. Thank you for you guys that came in to view the show. If I'm gonna refresh, if anybody did tweet, I did get a tweet at Anarchy Chat. So many people these days are statists. Can the modern life support ANCAP anymore? Eddie,
Good question, Piccolo.
why don't you rock that and answer?
Hold up, is that Rumsfeld as Piccolo? No, it's Costanza as Piccolo. Oh,
Which one are you looking at?
it's pretty cool.
Oh,
That's
this here? Yeah. I didn't even look at that.
You're a cool cat. 5'3". Anyways.
So, do you want to read the question again?
So many people these days are statists. Can modern life support ANCAP anymore? All we have to really do is convince these statists to leave us the fuck alone. That's my conclusion, and we can do this. It's not that hard. They're all pussies.
They're all pussies.
And the ones that aren't
Listen, if you're a statist out there, Eddie just called you a pussy, and I'm not gonna say he's wrong because honestly, if you're asking other people to lead you and rule you, grow the fuck up, grow a pair. You want someone to rule you? Oh, I'm too small. I can't make my own decisions. I need a ruler. Good. Voluntary action.
No, definitely.
You want insurance? You want a security guard? You want protection? Hire them.
This goes for the menarchists because they're statist-like.
Grow up.
And I like the idea of, I'm not for anarchy tomorrow or non-anarchy tomorrow. Actually, yes I am, but it's not going to happen, and it's going to take steps towards that. But
Right.
We need to take steps towards decentralizing the system and not towards asking the government for more imaginary shit. Let gay people marry and whatever. That's not
let a man marry his
everybody-
computer if he wants
if
to.
they really want to.
Whatever. Marry the ground.
Remind me of that program in Hello, Sir.
Chucky, what's up, buddy? We probably can't hear you because I
What's
don't have
up?
my fucking speakers on.
Oh, that would probably help.
But keep talking. I'm gonna get my speakers because it makes no sense that you can't hear what I'm saying and you talk to him. Just talk to yourself.
Well, I
Talk to him.
can't talk to anybody.
Just talk out loud because everybody can hear everything.
Well, I don't know. What were we just talking about again?
It's all good.
Ah, yes.
I'm figuring it out here. This is a work in progress. It's beautiful.
Oh, definitely.
Chuck, say something, my man.
Sup?
All right, hang on. Hang on.
Oh, I'm hanging. I'm hanging. I'm
Oh,
hanging.
got it. Chuck, don't go anywhere. Viewers,
I'm here.
don't go anywhere. All
here.
45,000 viewers. Settings.
No, I see 10,000. I don't know what you're
Speakers.
talking about.
I'm gonna put it output.
You can't hear me.
Speak to us.
Yo,
Hey, buddy. What's up, man?
yo. I see 10,000 viewers, not 5,000.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Your accounts are old, man. What's up, Eddie? How you
you
like
doing?
the show?
Good. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. God, my hair's so frizzy. So, we're still talking about police state?
We are on the police state. Yeah, we transitioned from taxes to police state. What are your thoughts, Chuck?
Okay. As someone who lives near the Detroit area, the police state, huge and inefficient at the same time. It's pretty amazing. They tell you to respect all the cops, but then if someone actually calls the cops, they don't show up 3 hours later. Help me! I was just shot. Oh, we'll send an ambulance your way in 3 hours eventually. So
Wait,
know.
Chuck. You live near Detroit?
I live near Detroit, as the French
Detroit?
call it. Detroit.
Dude,
But-
I didn't know you were in Michigan, don't you know?
Yeah. Oh, I hate it. I'm actually
you know?
moving down. Ironically, I'm actually moving down to Florida.
Wow, I'm moving out of Florida soon, probably.
I'll be
Maybe.
here.
Dude, I would totally love to be a live guest on your show. I'd jump at it. I'd totally jump at
Chuck
it.
on the show. Come
I
on, dude,
know.
you can stay on the couch.
Well, now that we're all together, I figure I should mention that do plan on sooner in the next 2 to 3 years, a non-anarchist film where I travel the states, maybe go to Hawaii. Depends if I can. I have a couple people I associate with in Hawaii. I don't know if I'll go out there or not. Maybe, but basically I want to just travel around, meet people, get their outlook on the philosophy, whether they're I'll even interview minarchists, take their take. All the festivals I like to go at times to catch maybe the next Pork Fest or whatever if it's still existent because that shit's imploding from the bottom up. But
Yeah. We can get some of your content and get on VVN too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're always putting
I'm sure Michael Shanklin would love. Thanks, Michael Shanklin, for the VVN. But for real though, I'm pretty sure Michael Shanklin would love your content. Absolutely. If he'll take my content, he'll take yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I should get that down, or I should.
So Chuck,
I take all these names down. I don't like again.
I want to get Eddie a show. I'm trying to get him on the network.
Walking by.
I'm pretty sure that as long as there's room on the schedule, Michael will give him the time of day. Michael's a really cool person like that. Absolutely. You got a message. He's got a show for you.
I'm glad, Chuck, that you can come on my show a lot too, and you know, you have the show after mine, so I always like setting up, you know, people and stuff like that, like working together.
I basically live on your show for
Chuck,
at least half the time.
Tell everyone about your show. I know you're on my show a lot. I love it though. You get it. You're a nerd. I like the nerdy geekiness. But yo, what do you think? Tell me what you think about where we are as with regards to the police state. Like, is it getting completely out of hand? Are we totally effed? And then, what's the nerd perspective on that?
Absolutely.
What are you talking about on your show tonight as well?
No, okay. First off, it's getting out of hand, but I'm not even talking from a nerd perspective. As a pet owner, as a dog owner perspective, completely out of hand. How many stories a day, a week, a month, a year do we hear about someone, oh, this dog seemed really threatening, so we shot him. I have 2 dogs, 2 of them, 2 of the best friends I could ever ask for in the whole world. It would be absolutely devastating if some cop just shot one of my dogs, you know, just because they're threatening. Casey looks threatening if you're on the outside. Okay, fine. I get it. But the other dog, he's about 70 pounds. The sweetest thing you've ever seen because he's extremely stupid. And absolutely no way he would be a threat to a cop ever. And when I hear about that as a pet owner, as a dog owner, and I love cats too, I'm not biased, but especially as a dog owner, it drives me absolutely nuts when you hear about these poor dogs getting shot.
But Chuck, yes, your tyranny report is accurate. There's tyranny in the world. Cops are now fully allowed to shoot dogs. Hunting season is mostly for deer and bear and elk, but if you have a shiny badge, you're actually able to shoot
a dog.
People, dogs, elderly, young children, foreigners,
teachers, old people.
You can shoot American citizens as long as as long as it's from a drone. I believe it's allowed. It's supposed to be overseas, but you can do it on American.
Yeah, America overseas. It's no difference, right?
But what do we do, Chuck? What do we do? I know, Eddie, you want to jump in, but what do we fucking do, Chuck? What do we do to stop the police state from screwing us really bad? Is there any hope?
All right. Here's what I would do. If I had my way, first of all, we allegedly have City Hall for a reason. And in the nerd world, when you want to get your thing heard, you make as much noise as possible. You know? And if they have to pretend to look out for our interest, right? Then they at least would pretend to do something about the problem, which even if pretending, it's still better than absolutely ignoring it, which I know that sounds really weird, but, you know, the idea is just make as much noise as possible, you know? I mean, look at in Detroit, there's all these things happening with all these cops. No one is making any noise about it anymore. Absolutely none. They have complete free reign there, and it's just sad. And I think the noise is the answer. Sorry.
No. I'm a marketing guy, so I wanted to cut you off and just be like, 100%, you're right. Call me, RJ at futuremanagement.com. No, but yes, yeah, if you're right, be loud about it. Don't let the wrong people crowd out your correct answer. Chuck, what are we talking about tonight on the Liberty Geek in 5 minutes? What are we getting into?
All right, so tonight I have a pretty interesting show. Any fans of the Elder Scrolls games? I'm talking about Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, that crappy MMO they just made. Screw you, ZeniMax. But for real, we're going to be talking about, I'm going to do a little mini-series about how, maybe not so many, but I'm going to talk about popular fiction and how it depicts statism. And I swear there's a point to this. We're going to talk about how we can take this fictional statism and, you know, apply it to real life. And so this week, I'm going to take us about the Elder Scrolls games, the whole franchise. There's a lot of statism. There's a lot of war in the lore. So I think at the very least, it'll at least be a very entertaining episode for me to talk about, if nothing else. So
That sounds awesome, Chuck. All that in a half hour. Eddie, you know about that stuff?
If you're not familiar with the game, just think Game of Thrones. Winter's coming.
Game of Thrones would work just as well, to be honest. I just not into that one, so I would just be talking out my ass, which I'd feel bad.
I feel you. It's pretty much the same thing. Dragons and Heracles Kingdom.
And war.
I'm pretty sure the creator might have played the fucking Nintendo game way back in the 90s and said, I gotta write books on this. But maybe not, because I'm not a supporter of IP rights, so no idea is original. We all think of crazy shit. And in India, three guys in India probably talking about liberty right now. Anarchy or not. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you say there's no... You say no thought is original, just look at Hollywood these days, so...
Definitely, I feel you.
Well, Chuck, I know you got to run and get ready for your show in 2 minutes. Everybody who's watching right now, I want you to run over and watch Chuck the Liberty Geek. If this is a rerun that you're watching, Roads to Liberty airs every single Friday on the Voluntary Virtues Network. That's youtube.com/Voluntary Virtues, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chuck the Liberty Geek follows at the 9 o'clock slot. That's on Voluntary Virtues. We couldn't have done this show today without you, the viewer, and without Eddie, the anarchist, next to me.
Non-anarchist.
The non-anarchist. We're going to be editing that for next time. But thank everybody for coming on. Eddie, you have the last word. What are your parting shots for the guests and for the viewers out there?
Keep on keeping on for right now.
But what do we do? What's the word? How do we avoid taxes? How do we get rid of the police out there? Preach. You got 2 minutes, man. You got to preach, or else I'm going to preach.
What do we have to do? Well, you just got to keep talking to your family. You just got to keep talking to your friends. Like, this is all about voluntary interaction. Like, we can't stress this anymore. Like, everybody's always in your face talking about, oh, what are you doing about it? What options do you have? And you're just talking. Well, guess what? Everything begins with talking. The United States doesn't talk. The United States doesn't use diplomacy. What they like to do is say they have every option on the table, but the reason they like to say that is because it avoids saying the only option is military option. That's pretty much what the case is. And just, you go out, you talk to people on the bus, you know, you're going to talk to statists on the bus. When I talk to statists on the bus, I used to do it all the time. Sometimes you're not going to win people over. Sometimes you're really going to, like, hit them. You might not change them on the spot. You might not ever see them again, but you might have affected them. They might go on preaching the message. You might see them a couple days later and actually be like, yo, I've been thinking about it, and you know what, you're right. If there was a foreign invasion over here in Florida
I cut you off, Eddie. That is beautiful. Excellent final thought. We're going to have you back.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned for Roads to Liberty. Stay tuned for Liberty Geek with Chuck. Thank you for watching Voluntary Virtues.